Hey, so I wanted to share some bits and pieces of information that you might find useful, or you might find completely useless. There might be a whole bunch of useless information, but I'm gonna tell you about it anyway. Some of these might be related to characters, special traits of characters, or random Easter eggs you can find throughout the world. Some of these might be even tips and guides on utilizing characters, or taking advantage of what their kits have in store. Depending on how much useless information I keep finding, I might make this into a series, just in case someone might find this information useful. Without taking too much time on this intro, let's get right into it. So when you use Xingqiu's E or his ultimate, you notice you have 3 flying swords around you. You may think that every time you attack with his ult, 3 swords fly out every time. But really, it's actually a 2-hit combo. The first hit always launches 2 swords, and the second hit always launches 3 swords, and then it repeats. However, when you unlock his Constellation 6, it says that activating 2 of his rain cutters greatly increases the damage of the third. And what this does is that it turns his 2-hit combo into a 3-hit combo. The first hit still does 2 swords, second hit does 3 swords, but the third hit does 5 swords. And then it repeats. I got nothing to be scared. So Xinyan's 3 levels of shields have 3 different levels of visuals. The first level is a pyro bubble that has a very faint equalizer swirling around her. The second level is the same bubble, but with a more prominent equalizer. The level 3 shield has a beat. You can see the bubble going bigger and smaller, and you can see it exploding every few seconds, creating a fire pulse. This pulse can also light up the grass on fire. Just like all other cryo characters, Chongyun can create ice paths with his abilities. But in addition to that, because his E converts all of his melee attacks into ice, he can swing his sword around just to continue the ice path. Sadly, the ice waves from his first constellation doesn't freeze the water. Whenever Chongyun uses his ult, he actually uses his talismans to summon the swords from the air. Because I have him at Constellation 6, you see 4 talismans, but before Constellation 6, you see 3. So everyone knows that if you use Tidecaller by itself, it's pretty average. And if you perfectly time it to counter against enemy attacks, it gets its maximum damage bonus. And if you want to do it without waiting for enemy attacks, you can do it on demand, by stepping on fiery grass, and then just pressing E. This is because the fire damages you so frequently, that when you press your E, you're basically countering something. Because of this, there may be times that when you're pressing E, you're not countering anything, so a quick fix is to step on the fiery grass, and hold E. You can see that the shield is pulsing. Each pulse means you've taken a hit. And all you need is 2 hits to get the maximum damage bonus. So one of my friends noticed this one. The Ruin Guards seem to have this delay or lag, where they react based on your reactions. If you use a character like Ningguang or Klee, where their basic attacks don't move, the Ruin Guard also doesn't move for a short amount of time. I find that it usually happens after they do the 3-hit combo after the jump, or after spinning. You can see here that I'm just hitting him, and he's not doing anything at all. But once I switch to Chongyun and his basic attacks move him forward a little, the Ruin Guard starts moving. I've tried this out on Klee, and it seems to work for her as well. And I think these are the only 2 characters that it works on, because everyone else moves either forward or backwards whenever they normal attack. So my Sucrose is a support build, where all of my artifacts are using Elemental Mastery as a primary stat. Because of this, I'm not playing her as DPS, and my normal attacks do like no damage at all. But because I maxed out her Elemental Mastery, her swirls do a lot more damage. And once this Ruin Guard got procced by Hydro, you can see that my swirls are doing way more than my actual normal attack damage. You can take advantage of this by using another character to proc an element on an enemy, and then use Sucrose's normal attacks to swirl. This is just a fun way to use other characters as normal attackers, rather than the typical normal attackers you usually see. There are characters like Beero, Xingqiu, or Chi-Chi that can attack the enemy with you every time you normal attack, so every attack you do is a swirl. And thanks to the Viridescent Veneer buff, those elemental attacks do even more damage, because it reduces the elemental resistance to the element that was swirled. So now you're seeing a combination of the ability used by the supporting character, the animal damage of Sucrose, and the damage of Swirl. If you want, you can go all out crazy by activating a bunch of abilities that attack with you, so every time Sucrose attacks, there's a bunch of elements flying around the screen. And despite Sucrose's normal attacks being really weak, she buffs everyone else's damage, as well as her own swirl damage. Keep in mind I didn't even use her abilities to damage this Ruin Guard, or even proc her passives to increase the elemental mastery of the other characters for their abilities, since casting an ability converts 20% of her elemental mastery towards her other characters in the party. So there are some abilities that NPCs take notice whenever you cast them around them. I've tested this with a few characters and it seems that they only take notice if it's a cutesy type ability or some sort of summon. Not all summons work though. And because Barbara's an idol, all of her abilities work. All of the taunting type abilities work too.
Everyone could break my heart, but I try my best to not fall apart.
Since Diona's shield works, I tried with the other shielding characters, and it seems like Diona's the only one that gets praises. When it comes to the Geo constructs, no one gets any praises, except for Ningguang. Last but not least, the most useless information of all, if you attack and then don't do anything at all, your character will have an animation of putting it away by tossing it in the air and have it magically appear on your back. Some characters have different animations, and some characters have the same ones, so it's not like all of them are unique. To get this animation, you need to not do anything when you attack, because if you move right after, the weapon already teleports to your back. Alright, and that's all the useless information I have for today, and see you in the next video. So I'll try my best to not fall apart, and I found it hard to let go. The memories keep me together. Gotta fight till the end, no pressure, no pressure.